next summer, just before the anniversary.
Okay.
All right, now it's 6 o'clock, and we'll call this meeting to order, and first item, we're going to have a report from Bill.
So in your packet, you'll see some of the projects that we're working on. I think we're all aware of our goal is to get an assistant manager here in the next year. And hopefully, we will have time to go through the paperwork and the costs and come back to the council shortly after the first of the year to get that rolling. So our number 2, our liquor at PainesvilleMN.com is, we continue to build our logo and our brand. And there's an app for our phone that is going to be on next year's goals to get that done as well. My friend in Bagley has his going. It's working out really well. So, and there's a lot of promotions we can do at liquor at Painesville.com. I think with the assistant manager's position, that will help take a little off my plate to get that done. It might be said that I'm not the best with computers, and it's
To say the assistant manager has to be tech savvy.
very much so. Yeah. A complete cooler reset. There are so many new items, and we have a very small cooler. So in working with another member in our association, he bought heavy-duty shelving and totally reset his cooler, and it's working out really well. You would have 5 levels of shelves instead of the 3 that we have. So we can double our occupancy. Plus, with our cooler being totally replaced, as far as the cooling system goes, it can handle the bigger load. So it's actually can handle a lot more. So, and that's why we went with the system we went with. So if we ever move someday, we can take that with us. So, store reset. I was working with Johnson Brothers until fall hit. Taking what we have for space in our store, could we square up the shelving, having them as a company come in and give their advice, and then we would reset accordingly, and they would help us do it. The best time to do that would be probably February, because we would probably have to shut down for a day. So, because we'd have to totally move shelving, and then redo the floors while we do that, because I'm sure underneath some of those shelves are a lot of wine from years past. So. And then legislative stuff, we're going to have the same thing we've been fighting for the last several years with grocery stores. They have a new lobbyist. They're working on some different things. Roger Teal and I have had many conversations about where we stand and where they stand, so it's going to be interesting. So with the legislation that we have, all the new ones coming in, we'll see where we're at, but I'll stay on top of that like I always do. So. In fact, legislative day, I think, is January 31st. Yes. January 31st, we'll be at the Capitol that day if anybody wants to go. So the more y'all that can go, the better it looks for us. So, and then all the numbers that have gone on to bring us up year to date, you'll see in your packet. We continue to grow. Profit is doing a lot better this year with the adjustments we made to our reward fund. Our reward program is doing extremely well. People really enjoy it. Margins are getting better. That's going to be more competitive going forward as prices continue to increase. We have to watch every single invoice that comes in, and that's been a challenge. Everything. And then your quantity buys are going up. So instead of buying 98 cases of something to get the best deal, now you got to buy 149 or 200. So some of these companies want us to warehouse, and I kind of put my foot down on some of the stuff. I said, I'll just raise your price then. So I can only carry so much in there, and our inventory right now is very high.
Are you stacking them as high as you were early in the summer?
Give me a lie on camera. No, we are not. We're not as high as we were this summer. So you still need a ladder for some of it, but not like we were.
Not the crazy stuff, okay.
No. I mean, we're slowing down on some of those beers, but we don't need that quantity buy right now.
End of the year, your inventory should be going down.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
Just checking.
But New Year's is coming, he needs a high inventory.
We're analyzing everything coming up, you know.
Do we still buy with, at one time, Litchfield, I believe?
No, we buy as a group. So not just Painesville, it's Sauk Rapids, it's Bagley, it's Lakeville. We buy as a whole group now. And there are deals out there every month that we can partake in. I don't do every deal. I have to see what we move the best, but we are the state's largest buyer of product right now, of the municipal liquor store is. So, which is kind of cool, because back in the day, nobody wanted to work together, but now as a group, we are doing it, and
So that helps.
tremendously. That's why you're seeing a raise in our margin, and we keep our retails right in the ballpark. So, and I think a lot of our sales had to do with the road construction, $5 gas. It doesn't pay to go to St. Cloud to Wilmer. It was a burger to get, you know, next year you can't get to Wilmer or St. Cloud. So I'd be curious to see where that is. And we have great lake traffic as well. So we've made a lot of good friends. But there's always opportunities. So, you know, we've seen the wine slow down a little bit with the canned cocktails. And that's going to continue. That trend is going to continue. Non-alcoholic products, we're going to have a set just for them. That is a growing market because not everybody wants a drink, but they want to act like they're having a drink. So our non-alcoholic products are probably up 25% this year. So, and that's at a higher retail, higher ring every time as well. So,
Well, that's good to hear.
yeah, it's fantastic. And then with us working with Proof the Fetal Alcohol Syndrome, talking about not drinking while you're pregnant, and we do the bag program. The bags are free. Why wouldn't we use those? You know, that saves us money on the expenses. So we push those bags as well. So that's, and I don't know if you want me to go through the report of where we are, you know, that everybody can kind of do what they want to look at there. We're pretty happy with where we are, but I'd like it to be better, obviously. So last year, Thanksgiving, I think we looked today, we were above last year.
Okay.
So
Good, I like that.
what you want. Now, we have our walk-around event coming December 6th at the American Legion. So we're excited about that. And actually, now we have 11 tables. I just bumped another table in to do, so, for product.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Sounds good. Anybody have any questions?
No, I won't hit you on numbers yet. I'll wait.
Your charts pretty much stays the same for activity. Looks like 5 o'clock is the high point.
Yeah, that's 5 to 7 is your peak hours. We get, you can see it continue to raise every to that 5 to 7 hour. Sundays, still the same, 11 to 1, 4 to 6. So,
9 to 10 drops off, but I suppose it's still worthwhile to stay open till 10.
well, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're at 9. And so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're at 10.
Okay, that's working.
It is, we have, of course, obviously, you have customers that want you to be open until 10, but it just doesn't pay. It just, and even Thursday is questionable, and the only reason I do it is because of the lake traffic. A lot of people come up to the lake on, you know, they're working 4-day weeks, so they come up Thursday night. So, plus it's freight day for us, we can get things caught up, put away, get ready for Friday, for the weekend, so.
Then our lease is up when?
Every year now, we just re-up it.
It's yearly?
It's on a yearly basis, yeah.
And you believe Rogers wants to keep us for now?
Oh, very much so, yeah. He'd like the business.
Because at one point we were talking, what are we going to do, and we need more space, and
And so we met with Roger a couple weeks ago. It's been a month.
I wasn't there.
No, it's been a month ago. Sean and I met with him, and possibility of more space. We pitched a couple ideas. We'll see what happens. We both kind of walked away with, okay, where are we?
well, that'd be a plus for us and him.
Right. Right. And the reason we pay the rent that we pay there is because of what we put into it, initially. So it's been 12 years now, so there's some upgrades we need to be looking at as well, so. But we're gonna have to look at software, for the cash registers. I was on a phone conversation today when Gene was in there with the president of our association. We're looking at our own credit card processing for our association, which could cut our fees in half.
Yep, cut some down.
Right now I'm budgeted for 32,000 new credit card fees this year. So and there are some stores that are starting to charge for credit card fees, but boy,
A lot.
until your competitors do it, I don't want to be out on an island by myself.
No, it has to be, do you know what we have in the building fund?
No, I don't, off the top of my head, it's total, we're close to 500 between both funds.
And that keeps growing,
Yeah,
and that's good.
yeah.
500 still don't go real far.
Not when you want to build a building. I think the last time I talked to Chuck, it was pretty tough.
A couple zeros, man.
Yeah, I guess you would know too, so, but it's a pipe dream. We're making money where we are, we're making it work with what we have, and if we can continue to keep growing, especially coming out of COVID, so that's,
Yeah, no, your numbers are good this year.
Yeah. And they'll be
Not
back.
expensive, I said,
yeah, I know.
sales are good, but expenses are high too.
Well, labor's gone up just because we had to pay. So you talk about your assistant manager's position. When I was talking to my friend at Bagley last night, he has an assistant manager and a full-time employee. My part-time people are making more than his assistant managers per hour. There's just no benefits. So we had to bump up. Even McDonald's is $14 an hour to start, plus a sign-on bonus to cook hamburgers.
Yeah.
So, and we've been able to retain most of our staff throughout the whole thing, so.
You have some pretty loyal staff members.
You bet. Do you want to touch on Wine Club at all, or
Yeah, December 6th, you mean, or just wine club as
just
a
in
whole?
general, or?
So we had moved to Tuesday nights, which you're all aware of, because the Legion is closed on Monday, so their bingo night has got moved to Thursday, so we moved to Tuesday. We had a great crowd. We had a great crowd.
Yep.
A little more mellow crowd.
Yeah, it was quieter.
Yeah.
It's not as close to the weekend, people don't feel like they go
So-
crazy.
Well, I wasn't there, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, how is it?
I was mouthy as always, so it was, but we had a really good crowd. Numbers continue to stay at 60 to 70 people every time. It's worth doing it. Right now, we have 11 tables set up for next week's wine club. We're going to have 70-some products for people to try for the holidays, so it should be a good night. But,
Okay.
yeah,
It's usually pretty good sales from them.
yeah. We actually have one, Utah Pills Brewing is coming, one of the founders. He lives on Rice Lake now, and he will be there, which is kind of cool. So a lot of times your beer guys don't want to do this stuff, but it's good for their product, so I was excited for that.
Okay, anybody got anything else for Bill?
I'm good.
I don't think so.
All right.
If you can all come down,
You're dismissed.
we're counting, we're doing audits right now, you're more than welcome to come down and help.
Okay.
I'll see you tomorrow.
That's all right. I've done audits many a time. Okay. So, we have company here from Nature
Energy.
Energy.
Yeah, let me give you the brief background, and I'll let you guys introduce yourself. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Nature Energy is a renewable energy, you classify yourself. They're based out of Denmark. They recently set up an office in Minnesota, and they're looking to expand here. They take agricultural waste, and they convert it into natural gas and pipe it directly back into the pipeline. So they looked at Paynesville as well as a couple of other areas in the state. I think you have 2 that you're looking at in the state right now to start construction. And, hopefully Paynesville will be one of their other locations that they consider. But I'll introduce Jesper and take it away.
Yep.
Microphone's there, yeah.
Everybody? Oh, I want to be a rock star. That's cool. So, my name is Jesper. I'm a Danish citizen. I live here in Minnesota now with my family, and a little disclaimer, if my English goes banana, please stop me and ask questions, okay? Here on the side, I have Simon Crook. He's a UK citizen, so he's all right. He's a funny accent. And he's my direct manager. So Simon is a Senior Vice President for Business Development US. And I have a position as Vice President sitting in our office in St. Paul, which we opened here in February this year. I've been coming since mid-21 on a special visa because of COVID. November 21, US opened up and we start coming more and more people and we're expanding. Now we have a US CEO. Her name is Alexa Glitch. So we're expanding. At the moment, we are developing 3 projects. One in Benson in Swift County, and one in Wilson in Wyoming County, a little bit south of Twin City, and one in Roberts in Wisconsin. On the Minnesota project, we have CUP, and we're about to send in the EAW to MPCA, so the whole application is going forward. We hope that we can get in ground, say within 6 to 10 months from now, so a little bit late summer, and then it takes about 18 months to build one of our facilities. We are producing renewable natural gas, so biogas, and biogas, just to make that really brief, that consists of give and take 65% methane gas, which is the same gas characterized as the fossil gas that we take off from the ground. The rest, 35%, is a bit of sulfur and a lot of CO2. And we look into ways to deal with the CO2. We can either make it as a food grade and sell it, or we can also pipe it to some storage in North Dakota. That's a little bit long vision. So we'll do something about it. Our background, as Tarif correctly mentioned, we are a Danish company. We've been doing biogas in Denmark for many, many years. It came out of regulation of the farmers, so manure was, being dealt in a more, let's say, environment-friendly way. Nature Energy, we are, 12 years old now, and we got 14 so-called large-scale installations running in Denmark. We had a lot of people from Minnesota and Wisconsin in 2 trips, September 21, September 22. We went to see our facilities in Denmark in order to understand what is it we're doing, and basically a smell test, because we're dealing with manure, and they all come back very positive, and you're very much welcome to reach out to them. I can give you names and address, and Tarif also have some of them. So large scales, that means 600, 700,000 tons of various organic material, mainly manure, turkey manure, chicken manure. So 70% approximately dairy manure, say 20% turkey manure, and 10% other stuff. For example, waste from your trees plant here in town. Manure is not really the gas giving, it's more the other stuff that we add in, but manure gives you a very good environment for the bacteria to live in. It's an anaerobic process, so no air, and then the bacteria make so that we can make this biogas. That we pipe to, we clean it up and we pipe it to the pipes, and the idea is to hook up here with the
Center point.
to the town power station have down here, and now I know it's actually not natural, but Center Point is also tapping from that one, and Center Point could take over the gas and sell these green gas in the village or in the city of Painesville. So it really is going to be clean energy all the way through. So what we have done, aside from the project that I just mentioned, is that we have reached out to various communities via deed. Lisa Hughes from First Up Minnesota, where we had an online presentation to Rick listened in, and he thought it was a good idea, so we've been...
Called you right away.
Yeah, he did. He was the first, that's correct. So, and therefore also come very fast back. And so we've been looking around for a potential site that is good to be located at, both seen from a logistic point of view, power, we need power, and also, of course, the pipeline. And the lot that we've been looking at, how will define that? I don't even know the address. Up by the highway there?
Yeah, off Lake Avenue.
It's
Highway
a,
23.
it's a perfect site, and we also in dialogue with the landowner, because of terrific, great work putting us together. And I've been in contact also with the cheese plant to talk about potential waste stream there. So what I'm trying to say is that with the biogas installation, we bring in manure from a farmer, and we bring back what's called digestate, which is more rich in nutrients and less volume, and thereby the farmer will, or she will save a lot of spreading costs. So there's a lot of win-wins in this for a lot of good reasons. And the only negative you really can put on is that there will be more trucks on the roads, and growth comes with trucks. It is a drop in the bucket of all the trucks you already have, but at a certain time, of course, too many is too many. And we are aware of that, and that's also why I'm saying, quite frankly. And the second thing is also that it's a poo factory. Many people see it as a poo factory because there's a lot of manure. It's not. But many people also smell with the eyes. And therefore, it's important for us to say, well, we make a good job. It does not smell, and that's why we have this trip to Denmark, since we don't have any operation in the U.S. as we speak. And you're more than welcome to come and see our facilities in Denmark. And that's also why we're reaching out to you guys now and say, is that something that the council here in Painesville will be interested that we work further on? Or should we rather stop now? Because we really don't, it's fairly costly to do all the permanent work, and we do that quite professional as well, and very transparent as well. We use Acadis, consultant company, to do this, and we will also, any meetings or support and information you want on this on that path, we will keep you in that. We want to be very, very transparent about all this. And then my last question, of course, also, if you have any questions, or how can we present what Nature India is? I have an email with various videos and so on, and pictures and rendering how it looks like. But again, we want to start out a dialogue and see if this is something that we can continue developing here. I don't know if you sent around the information, so we also have numbers on what benefit is for a city like Painesville. And for example, it'll give you approximately a turnover, a BNP of $50 million. It'll give you like 16 to 20 full-time jobs. I can't remember the number, doing construction, there will also be a lot of jobs. We like to do that local. We like to hire truck drivers local. A truck driver have a tendency to drive better and safer when he knows the neighbor or she. All our trucks that drive around are dictated, so we don't go anywhere that shouldn't be. What I'm saying is, like, if we have a school, we can go around it. We don't have to go through it. And issues like that we like to listen into and listen your concern and take them seriously and deal with them. We also like to be a very good neighbor, a corporate good neighbor, so we like to participate in the village, the city. It could be scholarship to the high school. It could be a food collection program. If you want to take that further, we very much like to join that and or suggest that and also run it. What you find that could be useful and worthwhile for you guys. With that, maybe you want to say one too, or I probably forgot half of it. That's all.
It is complicated. Again, thanks for having the time here. As we say, we're a circular economy company. We're taking in waste materials, processing it into a valuable fertilizer that can grow food and go back round again. As you said, the gas is renewable natural gas. It's a complete drop-in substitute for natural gas. It's greenhouse gas, removes greenhouse gas emissions. So it's, each plant's moving about 50,000 tons, so you're making the world a better place. Nature Energy is the leading company in the world for this. So we really know what we're doing. And that was actually reflected on Monday when it was actually announced. If you Google us now, the top news story, we were actually acquired by Shell.
I heard that.
On Monday. So we think that's fantastic. We had lots of bidders for the company, but actually personally, Shell was my first choice. I didn't get a choice, but Shell was my first choice. I just think it just adds to what we have already. They're going to let us carry on doing what we're doing. That's why they bought us. They like what we do. But yeah, they've seen the future too. The future is more renewable natural gas in the grid as part of the solution for climate change. So yeah, but yeah, you covered it.
Anybody have any questions?
I have, there is an odor involved, or how bad there isn't?
No.
Okay.
No. So if you go to our plants, most of the time, actually, when I visit them, it appears there's almost nobody on them. They're completely silent and they don't smell. There are, 6 to 7 staff on the site, in the control room doing things. There are truck movements. But when our trucks, the manure is completely contained within, a normal, truck, like you'd be carrying milk. It looks like a milk tanker. We actually have a specialist arm that is proprietary to us that actually goes to the farm, sucks up the manure, and then when it goes to the site, it goes inside a building. That building's already negative pressure, and then it discharges the material straight underneath into a tank. So there's no odor. Everything's done inside. There's no outside operations.
And it's being rural, and the farmers spread, especially like the liquid manure from a pit. That's pretty bad, but when you're driving, I always say that it smells like money.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta take that smell of money away from you. Because when you take the manure through our process, it comes out and it does smell, but it doesn't hang in the air like manure.
All the volatiles.
Yeah.
What you're smelling is the really volatile, small
That's
molecules.
right.
So we've taken all those molecules away and turned them into natural gas. That's in the pipeline. But we leave the money behind. Right? So the NPK, the fertilizer value, is absolutely there. And because actually we have a co-digestion model, so we're taking a blend of materials, and the farmer, what we put in, of course, is what the farmer gets. So we're giving them back that material and more. Yeah. So it's good.
So that's your relationship with the farmers. You take the manure, you do your process, but then the fertilizer value goes back.
Yes.
So we take a manure, which is a waste,
Yep.
and give them a product. And that product is a fertilizer. And at the moment, that's a very easy conversation with the price of fertilizer at the moment absolutely sky high. People are ringing us.
And also, with that digester, we can also, by centrifugal and press, we can take off the fiber. So we only have what we call nutrient water, which has less phosphor. So those phosphor-rich lands, we can actually help the farmer putting on, where some farmers, especially dairies, might not be able to put them in because of high phosphorus. Now the farmer will be able to take the N and K and not the P. So as I said, there's a lot of win-win here.
Yes, sir. Get another.
You'd have to contract with farms or whatever, but there's a lot of turkey and poultry farms
Yeah.
within 10, 12 miles. So that's a plus for,
Yeah. We like turkey. And we know there's an issue there with some turkey litter being spread onto fields. I mean, a mix that we're doing on our other plants, sort of about 10% of the mix is turkey, but about actually 50% of the gas comes from the turkey litter. Now you might say, why don't you just do a complete turkey litter? It's just the biology doesn't work. You have to have this nice mix. The bugs need to be happy. It's like a human. If you just eat one thing, you kind of feel a bit sick. So you need a nice blend of different things, and the turkey litter, we can take quite a lot of it, but we can't take all of it. So, yeah, sounds great.
I know, I'm not sure, I believe Langmo from Litchfield was involved. They had a similar plant in Benson. I'm not sure what happened there.
The Fiberman plant, yeah. So what they were doing was taking 100% turkey litter, but incinerating it or burning it. Yeah, and
They made power.
it was the power process.
And
So this is a better process and,
Yeah.
we are the same site as the Fiberman plant.
Yeah.
So this Fiberman plant was torn down because, I believe it was Excel Energy, but, the power was simply too cheap, too
It's
little.
hard to believe at the moment. Power was too cheap.
And it was their operation was too expensive, so they switched it down, and a lot of people got hurt. And the city of Benson has been very aggressive, very interesting to have us there, because it kind of fit plot very well. I mean, Turkey coming back to the city and ag and all that. So it was a very good place to be.
I have a comment for you. I work part-time in the spring for a co-op and deliver fertilizer to farmers, a pellet. They would rather use the pellets than the manure. The reason being is when they use the manure, when the cow processes and the fertilizer ends up in manure so the seeds. Now, when they spray the manure on the fields, the seeds are also going to be impregnated into the soil.
Yeah.
So it's going to raise the price up for the herbicide. So the farmers are in kind of a catch-22. The fertilizer price is raised up, but if you use your own manure, you're going to be losing more money on the herbicide.
Yeah.
So Monday was a good day for you guys, and also I was up on Monday talking to the plant manager and the head salesman who'd been there for 40-some years. And when I pitched what I've known about your company so far, they were more than interested.
Okay.
Because the main reason is, if you can give a farmer a chance to make a little extra money, he's on, no matter what kind of idea it is. Okay, some ideas are good, some are better than others, some aren't good at all. So there's a certain amount of excitement of what I was able to pass on to the salesman, because right now, the salesmen for the co-op are busy doing the seed orders for next spring. And in the meantime, they're keeping in contact with the farmers who love talking to the salesman, because that's the only time they know what's going on in the outside world. So with this being brought up, I think you're going to have a lot of people on board, especially, the farmers, if it gains momentum, it's really going to go big. Because if one farmer's doing it, making money, they're all going to want to fall in place. So I just wanted to run that by you.
That's really interesting. And actually, yeah, one benefit is actually the process, because on average, the material is in the reactors, in the tanks for about 30 days, and it's held at elevated temperatures. So it actually kills all the pathogens, can kill certain, seeds and all those sort of things. So that's a plus side, and that's part of the conversion of it from a waste to a product.
Right.
Is to a fertilizer. So no, that's fantastic to hear. We definitely, for us, the dairy farmers, and the other materials we make, they're a key partner, right? No feedstock, no gas, no plant. So I mean, they are absolutely key partner. And when we build one of these things, it's for 20, 30 years. So we're going to be here a long time. We want to know that people want us here. We want to be a good neighbour, but at the moment, we're not here yet.
Sure.
So we can say we're going to be a good neighbour, but we need people to be open to it, and then we need to know that the farmers are here, want to supply it.
So one of the questions that was brought up was, some of the farmers already have manure pits where it just gets pumped into whatever. Would the farmers who don't have manure pits, would they have to construct their own?
That it could be, but it could also, depend on the situation, we could actually take the manure and not bring anything back.
Okay, so you would be able to collect it on site?
Yes.
Okay, that's...
Well, we will, as we are co-blending with other stuff, we will have more digestate than the manure that we bring in, so we will have a surplus.
Mhm.
So, and that surplus we want to take further to crop growers. We of course investigated that, and crop growers are also interested in the material that we bring back because of all this, the biology in it. And it's very recognized that let's say the organics of manure and others is a better soil amendment than industrial fertilizer. So you could have a farmer that would not be interested in getting the manure back. We simply take it all and don't bring anything back. We could also have one that says, well, I would like to have more back. We could also do that. So in the end of the day, you see, there's got to be a balance, right? And there will. We know that from the way we operate in Denmark. And it's very dynamic because farms also go bankrupt, just like other business. But then when we are up and running, there will always be somebody will have a waiting list for people to come on board. So it's really a very dynamic operation that we have when we're up and running. But as Simon said, we need a certain feedstock signed up before we can do our investment. And we have this gate process, so all this is going in line. And for the farmers, again, we very much like to, for example, set up an open house and bring in more specialists, economists, and other people who could tell about the product that comes out and what it does in the soil and all that. So yes, we produce gas, but we also put a lot of efforts in helping the farmers and know what we're doing.
So it would be okay with you if I were to pass this information along?
Absolutely.
With the idea that this is a potential,
Yes.
what could happen?
Yes.
Yeah, because,
And they're very much welcome to reach out to us, and
yeah,
either we can set up something via you guys, or maybe they have one farm that might be a little bit more, let's say, the speaker for all, so to say.
Mhm.
We can set up a meeting and we can tell about all the goodies in this.
but the operations
You guys
manager,
have an opinion as well.
the operations manager was asking these questions, and, I told him nothing is signed right now. This is an idea, but we're working forward to it, but they were more than interested.
Yeah.
So it's just,
Also, it's a case,
yeah.
every farm is different, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you know that, right? So they're kind of all the same and they're all different, right? So yeah, we have to sit down with each individual and tell us about your operation. How would we fit in? How does it work for you? And we can do that through. I mean, it's nice to do it through groups, but also it does eventually come down. The agreement is with each farm individually.
Mhm.
It's a decision for the farmer. If there's certain investments have to be made, or then that's a decision for the farmer. And it has, we've got tools that can help them work out: does this pay back? Does it make sense? But at the end of the day, it's their decision.
Okay.
So the way we approach farmers is to have a one-to-one meeting.
Yeah.
I have experience with these group meetings, and yes, farmers have a tendency to be their own boss and so on, but I have really good experience with when farmers get together and they sit and chit-chat, and suddenly it creates all these questions that you did not know that you had, right? Just like a study session, everything comes up. But as Simon said, we have this a very it's an Excel sheet with all kinds of data, and each individual farm will go out and we sit down, how many cows, all these data in, how many fields, and then at the end of the day, it comes out with the benefits for, in a sense, also on the bottom line financially. And we leave that with the farmer, so the farmer can play around with it, and again, being quite transparent about things. And maybe you want to be a little bit conservative and put, higher up in this and lower in that, or the farmer can play around with the Excel sheet and that tool and see the benefits.
Okay. Well, if it's okay, then I'm going to pass this information along.
We're being recorded, so you can't stop it.
Pardon me?
So we're being recorded, so you can't stop it.
That's right, we are.
Thanks for sharing that.
Okay,
I'll give you my card afterwards, and maybe you can give it to the gentleman.
definitely. And there's, I know there's a place out west of here that'd be more than happy to take a look at it. They got 8,000 milking head a day. So, and they really produce a lot of manure.
Yeah. Cows makes a lot of money, they do.
Oh, boy. The whole county knows it.
With the recent, like you were discussing of Shell acquiring the company, are you seeing any major shakeups in the way the company is structured, the way things are done, or is it going to be a fairly seamless?
Well, to be totally open book, it's just happened. It's subject to regulatory approval. The target to get it done is the 1st of February. So to be absolutely straight with you, we don't know. On the other side, we
Fingers
actually
crossed.
work with Shell already. Shell actually in Europe buys about a quarter of our gas. So we've known them for a while anyway. Hence, we're really comfortable with them. I mean, it's interesting because when, a big company like Shell buys a little company like ours, interestingly though, in R&G, we're 10 times bigger than they are,
Okay.
right? So we've got 450 staff. Well, sorry, 11 times bigger. We've got 450 staff. They have 50 staff doing it. So it's kind of interesting because it's like, and the rate at which we're expanding, if somebody came to me today and said, here's 40 staff, I need 40 staff, right? So this isn't a consolidating industry, this isn't downstream oil and gas, this isn't refineries, you know, this isn't sort of, oh, we'll buy it to sort of consolidate it and try to make some efficiencies. You know, this isn't about this at all. This is, you know, Shell needs to go from almost no RNG in its gas to 100% or, you know, more.
In 2050,
Yeah, in 2050. So this is a growth story. So actually, I think that it will be about how do we integrate their staff into
Right.
our operations. So,
Yep.
but yeah, like I said, they're a good company. I mean, a lot of people in the company, I work for oil and gas companies. You know, they're requiring this to grow, right? So so we think it'll be positive. So yeah, we're very excited. And they paid a lot of money. So they're not going to.
That they
They
did.
need to make it a success, right?
Personally, I say, I am just a employee in Nature Energy, and I'm not worried at all, on the contrary. And I don't think they're gonna change our name, for example, because Nature Energy is a brand name within renewable natural gas. If you Google that stuff, I mean, our name is all over the place in that type of industry. So, yeah,
Okay.
exciting days. I think it's just gonna be more, even more. And growth is sometimes a headache. They want more, and you, oh man, it's just been running so fast.
But yeah.
It
So,
can be a bit of a bumpy road. I just wondered how
yeah,
particularly large those bumps might be, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think the model will be simply that they will replace the exiting investors will take their 2 directors off the board, and they'll be replaced by 2 Shell employees.
Sure.
They're not doing the sort of, I think oil and gas companies have learned from that kind of trying to take over everything, and it doesn't work. You know, if you buy a thing because you like it, let it do its thing.
Yes.
So, and in fact, they've shared that that's what they like about us. You know, we can make quick decisions about things. We don't have to talk to people. So yeah, no, I'm genuinely excited. I think it's going to be great.
The main purpose of this meeting was, first of all, for Nature Energy to introduce themselves to council members, and then I think above all else is to make sure that we are comfortable with them pursuing their plans here in Painesville. And if anybody has any questions or objections, let them know, or have a discussion on that before they decide to proceed further.
I just had one, your plant, will you be needing a lot of water and?
good question. Yes and no. Yeah, yes and no. So we need about 132,000 gallons of water, drinking water, for toilets, shower, coffee machines. And those 132,000 tons of gallons, since it's toilets, it will have to go through a sewer system. For the operation, we need about 9 million gallons of water to dilute the turkey and so on, because we need about 11% of dry matter in the entire. But those 9 million, they go back on the field, so they don't go to the sewer. So, and that water could be brown water, it could be left over from any other industry and so forth. It could also be from a well that we drill on the site. The short answer is that we will not put that back in the sewer of here in Painesville.
Well, that's where AMPI could help you a lot with that.
Yes, and we are also in dialogue with them. Their amount of water as going to your treatment plant today is more than the 9 million. So clearly we could take that, but it would not remove the entire, let's just call it issues, because I really don't know how big they are. I just know there is some. So we're not completely solution for the AMPI issue. However, there's other wastewaters that we can take from them more. And as I said, we are in dialogue with Wayne to find out. I'm waiting for him to come back with ideas where and the good thing about Wayne, actually, he dealt with other on this, so it's not completely new for him. So I think we're going to move quite fast on that. But I just want to underline that he also mentioned that the big amount of water that he's putting back to your waste treatment plant, that is such a huge amount that it's too much for us to say. Just, I mean, I don't, so we absolutely sure we don't
What
want
makes
to.
a difference?
It,
Small difference. What is it?
Well, it's, you know, as we said, then a lot of small creeks makes a big river. and- Yeah.
I think that's it for us. I think we're all in favor of them
Yeah,
proceeding.
I'm totally impressed. I'd
Yeah.
Yeah.
give you the key to the city, but I don't know.
Can I quote you for that, Bill? Oh, don't do it. But I can say-
Gosh, Neil.
So, but, I mean,
Say it
we've opened the dialogue, and, you know, it's obviously not the final word from, you know, but yeah, fantastic to hear, and yeah, I mean, any more questions?
Please
let us
reach
know.
out if there's something. We want to be as open as we can.
We're listening.
And also, if you feel like there should be a campaign to the citizens here in the city, you can also arrange that. I mean, we have resources, and we also have knowledge about what's a good reach out. If there's anything like that, please let us know. We like to say we got 2 ears and 1 mouth. We want to listen to you, how to do it, and or more, how not to do it.
You said you had some audiovisual stuff?
Yes.
And is that possible that could be placed on the city's website?
It certainly can.
It's on YouTube, so you can link it.
Yeah, and what we do every time we start a project, just like we have for Benson and Wilson, we actually make a website as well for that specific project. It's a very, I call it very, you know, it's a live website, so the question comes in, and people can ask questions on the website, and I'll be answering them, not me, I mean,
Yeah. Someone on your end.
so I'll find somebody who could, a good one, I'll probably make it too sloppy. And it would be the same here for Paintsville, so it would be paintsville.nature-energy.com. And you can look into benson.nature-energy.com. And you can also look at natureenergy.com. That's more flashy, right? These are more quiet, as I call them, but they're very, very informative. So a lot of rendering, and especially there's a big rendering of our plan with numbers that explains whatever, you know, all the buildings we have on it, the height, the sizes and so on, so, you know, and then again, we want to tell you exactly what we're doing so we don't get any surprises in the end. And Terry, I can send you the email if you could pass it on to, and you're more than welcome to pass it, look it into your website there.
Yeah, I'll pass that around.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
it's no secret that we are here, but officially, we're not working on it yet. We have this gate process that we go through, because internally, we need also to make some approvals, right? I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here. One of them, and tonight has been a great evening, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that makes it, right? So that's something I can report back to Simon, well, he here by himself, so that's good. And then, of course, we have the site, we dialogue with the landowner. Now, if you want $1 million per square feet, then of course we might have an issue. That's not the case.
Let's hope not.
We got the gas pipeline, we got dialogue with Centerpoint on that one as well. So, you know, then we need to, we have also looked at feedstock, and it looks very promising. We got to go a little bit more into details on that one. And then we go through what's called a gate zero. That's our internal system. And then when it's going through gate zero, it actually becomes officially that we're working on it. And then a little more needs to be done at gate 1. That's when we push the big button for the check of permitting. And then a lot more people could get on it. And I'll keep you informed about the entire process when we get that far. So, yeah, let me send you those links so you can also pass it on to your good citizens here.
Yeah, I'll share it with everyone.
Okay.
Make sure you give me your business cards.
Absolutely. Get 10 if you want. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Just pass on here.
moving on.
Well, we're over the barrel.
Yeah, give it a couple more. It's not gonna hurt. All right, thank you.
I have yours already, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are Kiersgaard?
Jesper Wilson, don't forget all the in-between stuff.
Oh, you're Jesper?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, and you are Kiersgaard? No.
No, my name is Jesper Kjærsgaard, it's Daniel Nilsson.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, gotcha. Well, that's not.
Your name. That was a lot of work to spell.
Gotcha. We're good, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on swiftly.
Let's go to Andy then.
Andy's next. Make it short. Hey, you got a microphone right there, you didn't have to get up. Oh, you got it.
Has a handout.
We're getting goodies.
Yeah, I should have handed them all before we started.
Oh, thank you.
So basically, real quick, we can get started a little bit while I'm wondering. We have about 142 calls, you guys can let Jim, if you want. About 142 calls through December, through November 15th. You can kind of quickly see what they are. We have about 31 canceled and route calls. That's probably the biggest one that has changed since last year. Not that we didn't have canceled en route before, but we're counting all the ones that we get canceled even before we get a truck out, which probably changed, I'm gonna guess, around about 10 calls. So not a whole lot, but enough that it makes a little difference. I think we're a little bit higher right now than we were last year as far as call volume. Projecting, I'm guessing we'll be about 160 by the end of December versus about 152, I believe it was last year. Maybe it was 148, something like that, but it was right around that 150 mark. So not a big change or anything that with our call volume, but it is steadily around that 150 mark for the last, now it'll be 3 years. Staffing, we're still looking for 3 firefighters, so if you know anybody that you think would be interested, send them down to fill out an application. We do all the training, make sure they're aware that we train anybody. It is an 8-minute response time to the fire hall, and that's by Google Maps, is what we use for that, so. A couple of our upcoming events, we have our drawing for the raffle, December 9th, Backdraft Bash has got a big event planned for June again, and then our normal dinner, so. Let's see. I didn't put a highlight. Oh yeah, I did. It's just part of the upcoming events. Some of our big trainings that we're looking at doing. We've got a big rope rescue kind of in the works with the AMPI plant, trying to get something up in there, ladders and towers. That's going to be a big obstacle to get that approved through AMPI, get our people in there and figure out a good big event. We've got some RIT training that actually we did last night. I'm sorry, not last night, last week.
What does RIT stand for?
Rapid Intervention Team.
Okay.
So if we have a firefighter that goes down or gets lost or a mayday called, that team gets quickly assembled and they go in after that firefighter.
Okay.
So, and then the other big one that's on everybody's radar is the active shooter. So I know we've talked about it several times. We just need to get with the school and get something locked down and then get a training set up with an agency. Quick little rundown on our fundraisers that we've had. Backdraft Bash this summer raised about $11,000. Our supper that we just finished raised just over $9,000. And then our raffle, assuming we sell all of our tickets, will raise $10,000. So it'll be about $30,000 we'll raise this year just for our Relief Association general fund. So that does not go into our retirement or anything like that. That's just money that we have to purchase any extras or help out with hoses, nozzles, stuff like that, things that we feel as a fire department would be a benefit to us in the city. We purchase it and then we just let you know that, hey, you guys own this now. So, yeah, and then let's see, some of the updates that we've done on the building in 2022, we got the 4 garage doors replaced. They painted yellow lines in the building, painted the red posts on the exterior of the building, and then we got the ceiling redone. And the 2 big items were actually insurance items, but it looks really nice and worked out really well for us. And then some of the upcoming repairs that I'd like to look at for 2024, actually, I got to get it in the 2023 budget and stuff, is figuring out how to do the roof and the exterior walls. So,
What's the Cascade system?
Cascade system is our air exchange system that actually fills our bottles.
Oh, okay.
So we did an upgrade when we went to the high-pressure tanks, but since then, we've been having issues with the Cascade system. It's, I believe, it's about 20 or 25 years old now, if I remember, and life expectancy, I think, was given 20 years. And when we did the upgrade, they told us, oh yeah, it won't be a problem, it'll be great, everything's good. But I think we've probably got $3,000, $4,000 in repairs already just since the upgrade has been done, so. That's more of a FYI, this might be something that will come up and haunt us, but it's like $20,000 or $25,000 to replace this piece of equipment, so. Don't hold me to those numbers, that's just kind of a ballpark right now. I haven't done any research because I don't want to replace it. I want to fix what we got, I want to make what we have work, and it would be silly to replace it in my eyes if it's going to work, so, like they told us it would. We do want to put new air lines through the building. We have PVC right now is what is coming off the air compressor, and that feeds our trucks with air to keep them maintained, ready to go out the door for the brakes and everything else to be up to par. The issue we've been having with the PVC is it's getting old and brittle. So we've broken a couple lines and fixed them and repaired them and patched them, but we want to be more proactive in getting that replaced. And actually, we had started the project internally in the fire department about a year ago, and that just never went anywhere. I mean, we had a group to get together and try to get parts, a list of parts and get pricing, but that just kind of stopped at one point. So we want to get that started going again because it needs to be replaced, and it's not a big expense. Let's see, what am I missing? New truck should be here February of 2024. They have not started anything. We have not received the chassis yet. They'll give us a heads up when we have all that, but the new chassis should be coming shortly. But that's about it.
Andy, we have adequate money in our building fund for the repairs.
Right now, we have about $300,000 in our building fund.
Better not spend all that.
Shouldn't be an issue. Yeah, I mean, I think my initial quotes with the building maintenance and stuff that had to be done for the roof and the walls were about $120,000 if I remember. So, but that was also about 2 years ago that I quoted that, so, or got those initial bids a year and a half ago, something like that, so.
Anybody else have anything?
I have no questions.
Linda? Okay, thanks.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Next is Ron.
Thank you. First of all, on the Nature Energy, the process they use, the anaerobic digest, that's used in many wastewater treatment plants. They're just taking it to, by far, another level, far beyond what any waste treatment has. Even the big ones in the cities don't come close to what they're proposing here. I think it's like 12 digesters. So it's an extremely large facility. But everything being enclosed, I would agree that there really shouldn't be any odor. The little bit of odor that they do, looking at the plans, they do, in the plans, it is out there for a 200-foot stack. So anything that is odorous would be vented. So I agree that it looks very promising. First of all, in the parks, obviously, the park board is still working on the Ampey Park shelter. That's the #1 priority there. And I think everyone's aware that the grants coming in look very promising. The grant process, I think we need to submit that in March again, and we'll find out in June if we have the grant. So that would end up being actually a 2024 build if we do get that. There's been a little bit of talk about the skating rink, and somebody had mentioned to me also maybe this city should have its own in town here. So that'll probably be brought up to the park board also and explored. The one thing we do need out at Veterans Park will be a new swimming raft. This one we have out there is failing premature. It's only about, I think, 11, 12 years old. But we will be investigating that and looking for an upgrade there. Water department, filtration plant, we did get the new media in there, which is producing a very high quality of water. Just seeing trace amounts of iron and manganese down where it, below all the limits where it needs to be. The next major project for the water department really is when we do the downtown project. It may be a blessing in disguise that we didn't replace all the water main back in the early 90s, simply because we would have put in all 6 and 8 inch main. For fire flows today, that would not meet it. We need 12-inch main through most of the downtown, just to meet the fire flows that are required by most of the insurance companies today if you're going to put a sprinkler system in. So, on the sewer end of things, really it's the next major project there is working again with AMPI on the phase 2. And exactly how Nature Energy is going to affect their project, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I don't know, they probably don't know themselves yet. So, kind of a wait and see thing.
Yeah, you have to stay on another year.
Oh, no, we have a plan for that already.
Oh, do we?
We'll talk about it.
The irrigation system, obviously, we've completed this year's irrigation, but we still have 3 of the original center pivots, and they're pushing 40 years old now. So that will be on the docket. I don't think in 2023, but likely in 2024. So, stormwater, again, with the downtown project, it's not going to be required, but I know there's grants out there for it. And what do we do with the stormwater from downtown? Currently, that goes directly to the river. So we'd like to explore putting in some kind of stormwater pond there. And, I think we need to work through the county to get any available grants there, but that is a possibility, and the Public Works Department will be exploring that. The airport, really we're looking at the runway rehab and paving or reseal coating all the taxiways, and I think that's for next year and 2024-25, right in there. And let's hope we're finally, I think the MnDOT is going to be getting us some of our money. I think the first round here is like $108,000 that they owe us, and they were reviewing it. Chuck, I don't know if you can give us an update on that.
They said it'd be a couple weeks, but it's...
In a couple weeks.
Yeah. I mean, the bad part about it...
told they were reviewing it before. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's for the airport or?
Yes. The bad part about it is the airport is paying all the negative interest on there. So it is adding up. And obviously the trails and the trail board and the council has just passed a resolution to move forward with the trail. There was some discussion whether is this the correct route or should we be looking at going back through Willville. But it looks like it will stay. So I guess that's all I have.
Do you have any street projects at all planned other than the downtown in a couple of years?
There are some there, but I think it was the council's wishes that we push them all back several years in order for the budgeting to catch up.
In what year is the bond? There's going to be a bond that's going to be paid off in a couple of years, isn't there?
I believe 27 was kind of the year.
2027 was the target year.
That's spending money that we don't have.
Okay.
So just to make everybody aware, though, if we push everything back, there's going to be a number of years where it needs to be hit fairly severely again. So
Better to even balance it out and do it in stages.
Maybe we better look at moving one of them up.
thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ron. We have a letter from Paul, since he wasn't coming, and just for the record, I'll read it. As of October 31st, 2022, the department is finally back to acceptable staffing levels, with all staff trained and working independently. The department is working with Stearns County sheriff's office that will have significant impacts on the community and the department. Oops, I just lost my page because I hit the wrong button. Okay. Hazel, along with several other agencies, will be part of the first wave of agencies added to the program. This program will allow direct communication between a victim of a crime and law enforcement personnel to get updates on the case until charges are filed and the county attorney's office takes over the victim care. This program will allow for better communication with our victims and free up officers to continue working on the investigation. This program is being offered at no additional cost to the city at this time. Secondly, Stearns County is continuing to move forward with the new RMS and CAD mobile dispatching system. It is expected that this program will be up and running by the end of 2023 or sometime into early 2024. At this time, we do not know the cost of the project or how much we will be responsible for. As we get time, the department will also be looking to create a Facebook page for the department. This will allow us to keep the public notified about important things happening within the community and notify the public about things affecting them, such as winter parking, public nuisance enforcement, special events. The department will be working on a proposal to create a sergeant's position with the department. This would not be an additional position. This would be a mid-level supervisor's position with one of the current officers being promoted to it. I have a target date of the end of 2023 to the first quarter of 2024 for appointment to this position. I was also asked to provide an update on a contract with the township at this time. As of this time, the matter is slated to be discussed by the Police and Fire Advisory Board. I have suggested a contract with them for proactive traffic enforcement only at this time. The committee will discuss this option before anything is brought before the township or council. With current staffing levels, I am not willing to entertain anything that puts additional burdens on our staff. This plan will compensate the department for what we do already, with causing unnecessary burden on the staff. As for the radar sign that is used in the township, as previously stated, this was a joint venture between Painesville Township and the City of Painesville to provide us with an option for a mobile sign. The township provided the trailer and the city used our last sign that was purchased from the Lions donation to complete the trailer. The trailer is technically owned by both entities. When it comes to nuisance properties, we continue to address them. Officer Umunik has been charged with identifying them and working with property owners on the cleanup. We are making progress on multiple properties. The council needs to decide what enforcement they want in this area. If the council wants the police department to address the issues, then please let us do so and direct the cleanup and enforcement of the nuisance to the police department. If the council wants to be involved in addressing the situation, then please use the civil payment process for the council to work with the homeowners to clean up the property. Trying to enforce them both ways is creating confusion and frustration with the residents and undermines the police department. The department is currently renting 3 garages on South Street for excess items and forfeited vehicles. The department currently has 2 vehicles stored in the garages along with the back seats of the squad, department grill, and other miscellaneous items. We also have 2 forfeited vehicles currently being stored off-site as there's no room in the garage for them. Now that we are at adequate staffing levels, I will be taking a significant amount of time off in the next several months. The last several years have been difficult and the stress has taken a toll. I'm hoping some time away will help rejuvenate me. I will be taking a month off from December 23rd to January 22nd, 2023. This will be an opportunity for us to see the effectiveness of the sabbatical, with the exception that I will be using my PTO time for the time off. During my absence, Officer Hawkinson will be in charge of any major issues that might arise. This will also be an opportunity and trial run for him, as I will be requesting we appoint him as a sergeant for the police department in the coming year or early 2024. I will also be taking a week off in April, possibly June and December. This will allow me to get my PTO hours back below the max, but still near the cap. And that is his report.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. And TARC, that's the last report.
Okay. Well, as you know, major part they're working on is economic development. That includes trying to help local businesses. So far, we have 2 local businesses that are interested in applying for a TIF, tax increment financing, for their expansion projects. They haven't completed their applications yet, but both have expressed interest in doing so. So I'm hoping that that comes through either by the end of this year or early 2023. You met with Nature Energy already, and we also have a property developer that we're talking to about developing some additional housing for us. It could be a combination of multifamily, i.e. apartments, and single-family homes, etc. We're still early stages, but so far the developer has shown quite a bit of interest in working with us on that. In terms of city staffing, as you heard, the police department is fully staffed. I think here in City Hall we are as well. Although Andy didn't mention this, but the fire department is short. We're looking to hire 3 new firefighters, so hopefully we'll be able to find at least 3 individuals interested in applying for that. That's it. I'll keep it short.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for TARC? Okay.
Just on Paul's thing, I mean, that the part of civil criminal enforcement, I mean, that deserves some discussion, and I don't know where is the appropriate place for that, but we should probably talk about that somewhere.
Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit earlier, just what are we going to do?
Well, the police and fire is handling the nuisance property stuff, so maybe we can discuss it there.
Oh, yeah, the Police and Safety Committee.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a meeting that want me to come to, or whatever.
Okay. I'll make a note to invite to the next one.
Well, as long as we're talking about the letter, I guess I had a couple questions for Paul. I didn't realize that the speed sign, the township had contributed the trailer, I guess, and so it's joint ownership. I had a problem when I drove on the Lake Road, and there it sat, and I thought, why is that in the township? But that pretty well answers that question, so I guess it can be in the township. And then I asked about the garages. Do we know we're paying for the garages?
It was, I think, $50 a month, something like that.
I was thinking it was 150 for all 3, so.
Yeah.
That would be.
50 each?
We got a break for doing, I think, a 2-year lease on them.
And we still have bicycles, or?
They are in the process of being removed. So that should be in process. The last police and fire meeting we had, I think it was Don Wiener said he will gladly take them out.
And this is kind of ongoing, it seems.
Well, we approved getting rid of them about a year ago, and they haven't been.
It seems every year there's 8-10 bikes that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the bike program we discussed earlier, there's just
It's
not
amazing.
the resources or the time to do that right now.
Yeah.
Okay. You'd rather kind of put that on hold rather than just, because I think it would be, if we can make it work, it would be a good program to have.
What's that?
When we had discussed with refurbishing the bikes and having them just available for public use, I'd still like to see that happen, but I understand right now we just don't have the.
Well, at one time, the
done.
Lions had a group that did that, and that's no longer.
But that wasn't for like public, right? That was, they gave them
It
to.
was for anybody that wanted to
Needed the bike.
contribute, like I paid $20.
Yeah, so what we had talked about earlier, I don't remember when that was.
That was a while.
Was having them like, somewhere in where you could just have it for a little bit and then put
Yeah.
it back. Like borrow, yeah.
You just got a bike stand or something.
Yes,
where-
yeah.
Two of them around town.
Half of these bikes need major work.
Yeah,
That's
that was
the
kind of
problem.
where it fell apart, I think, but I'd still like to stick a pin in it more than just not
Well, if you, I think if you said you wanted to do a program like that and you publicized it and you said we're looking for donations of serviceable bikes, I think you'd be surprised how many people have serviceable bikes
Yeah.
hanging upside down in their garage and
Garages.
just not sure what to do with.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, I think we might end up with more people volunteering bikes than you.
Then we have space for bikes, yeah. That's a good point, to make a note of that.
All right, next on our agenda is downtown buildings, businesses versus storage.
I think this came about because, yeah, we're trying to see, is there something we can do to kind of encourage the buildings that are currently being used as storage to be used as an actual business where they help or serve customers somehow?
I mean, is there anything that we can do that anything that's already happening isn't going to be grandfathered in regardless?
Well, that's a bill question.
I was asking.
Well, I mean, I don't think any of them are grandfathered in because none of them were anything like storage before the zoning ordinance was in effect. I mean, so I don't think storage was allowed, and these places have gradually morphed into something that's more closer to storage. And I don't know all the places. I guess I don't, walk around and inspect very closely, but I got an idea of what a couple of them are anyway. And I mean, the problem is, that, wow, I think, they're going to say, well, I was open twice last year, you said that, how many times a business has to be open? I mean, there's probably one that's never been open.
Right.
The other one that's at least on my radar has been open very, very infrequently. Once in a great while, but very infrequently. I guess, you could
Stipulate opening hours?
Like, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can make a business be open, but I think the question of whether there's storage or not, I guess, I think you could say, you could reach out to the property owner and say, hey, we think you're in violation of our ordinance. You're a storage facility, and we're going to conduct a hearing before our planning board to gather facts about whether in fact you are or not. I think you'd be looking at probably making findings and a determination that you think that they are in violation of the city ordinance, and then, you'd have to start a state district court action up in St. Cloud and say, ask a judge for a declaratory judgment saying they're in violation of our city ordinance, and we want the use discontinued. I imagine, I think you could probably find that some of these places are purely storage and they're in violation of the
The
ordinance.
one at the end of the street. Yeah, that one for
Right.
sure. Hasn't been open in years.
Yeah, so I think if you investigated it, I think you could legitimately make those findings.
Well, maybe if you prosecuted one, the others would
Or maybe
realize they have to do something different.
Well,
It was a possibility.
that would be the other possibility, is to just write citations. I don't know that that's going to get you any movement.
No.
Because, well, first of all, the citation's going to be fairly nominal, probably, if the dollar amount. I don't know that it would, and, they might just ignore it, and then it just, court system just sends it to collections, and it just festers around, that's what happens sometimes with the criminal system, so it can be frustrating and slow. So I don't know, but doing it civilly can be expensive, and that's a trade-off, is, you've got, you can try to get their attention by writing a citation, and the other difference is, if you write a criminal citation, the standard of proof is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And so I think it's going to be harder to win if they fight it. But if you pursue it civilly, the council is the finder of fact. They get a right to appeal it to district court, but you have a lower standard of proof in a civil case than you do in a criminal case. I don't know. It's a hard thing. There's not, I don't think there's an easy answer to it, but I don't think anybody's grandfathered in. I don't think anybody has a right to make that.
I have a question. Is there anything in the ordinances that identifies a storage unit? Such as one that is retail but was retail and now is storage? If there's nothing in there, is there something that we could put in? And have,
Well, no, I don't think we have to put anything in. I think people understand the difference between a retail business that's open to the public and a place that just stores goods. I don't think it's complicated. I think those are commonly understood terms. If you never open your doors and the same stuff sits there for 5 years,
It's,
Well, if, when we were saying that, you can't determine when they can be open or not, if something is zoned as a business district, do you have to define what a business is, and could you say it needs to, there are circumstances, of course, like we just came out of with the pandemic, but if it isn't an extreme circumstance, can you say that they need to be open a certain amount for the public? And, but then that's hard too, because how would we zone the business when we have places like the sewing shop, which I know is being sold, but it is being sold to another sewing shop? They're not going to be open to the public ever. So is that a can of worms we want to open? Or what do we do?
it's a tough call.
Yeah,
Like some of these, it's their own personal antique collection.
I don't know.
Which is basically storage.
Yeah. I've never talked to him, so I don't know why, because there was a time when both of those places were open.
That's, we're open more than
I don't know if the owners have just burned out and they just don't.
But at the end of the day, I imagine they're paying their property tax. And all of these buildings, what is our objective? Because most of them are, I don't see another business probably going in.
well, do we,
So are we better to just leave well enough alone, or?
I don't know.
If there was people that wanted these buildings for a better cause, it would make sense, but
There are people out there who, and I was going to look more into it, but that will come in and help you, and look and say, this space would be a lot better suited for whatever, can kind of help you with the turnaround on that. But one of my concerns is, at what point, the buildings are connected. So at what point do we start to be concerned with like structural integrity for the entire block if, and I know like the old grocery store that's connected to Shrubs, I'd heard, I don't know for sure, that it had extensive water damage and it hasn't been opened in years. And so at what point is there any kind of leeway with that if we're concerned that, if there is damage and is it going to spread to the other buildings? Do we have any?
I don't know if there's a common wall, or is there? I'd be surprised.
I don't think they're
I
going
think
to.
they're separate.
Under separate, but I just know when we had talked about years ago, when the group said when we talked about taking down Corner Drug, there's a lot to be done.
That has.
Yes, because they shared so many things. I don't know if that's the
But
case
it's
along
not
that.
the case with the other building.
Oh, but the whole, like the
I
block
think they both have
itself.
cement. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know the answer for sure, but I'd be a little surprised just because of the age difference, but it's possible.
Yeah,
No, they're not connected.
but what about the entire block where?
Well, that block is,
Yeah,
that's where it
yeah.
is, but not the old grocery store.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I honestly, I don't know what goes on in there. I thought they did some internet marketing or something, but I don't know.
Boy,
and where?
In the old grocery store.
There has been no movement there for,
I don't think anybody's
Quite a
been
few
there
years
for quite a
now.
few years.
last time I saw was a garage door getting put in.
when they put the garage door in a few years ago to store a boat or something there.
Yeah, and that was, when Gina and I had talked about the, downtown, we had kind of talked about that being a place that I sort of wanted to get more of a handle on what was going on there and what the plans were for that space.
Yeah, Well, we just also don't want to see more of them.
Well, I guess the concern is that the sewing place is basically for sale.
But it's been sold in.
How do we stop somebody from buying it and filling it up with junk?
It's already, has it been sold already?
I believe so.
Oh, it is?
And that was my question before, and they said our ordinance prevents that from
Well,
them turning it into
if we
storage.
enforce it and want to go through there, yes.
But we can keep it from happening in the first place.
So is that light industrial then, or how does that work?
It's still just commercial.
Okay.
The downtown is all commercial.
All that's non-commercial.
Yep, all done.
But I mean, we specifically allow.
We allowed it in there.
Yes, that's
I
right.
mean, I see it both ways, but at the end of the day,
I just
I
don't.
don't want to see empty buildings.
But I don't want to see more storage either.
No, no,
That,
no.
that doesn't do any good
I
for
think an
us.
empty building has more potential than storage, though.
Depends how long it's empty.
Guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, bottom line, you could push. You'd have to decide, how you wanted to do it, but you'd have options. There are things that you
Okay.
could do. I think the starting point would be to try to talk to the property owners and just say,
Yeah.
we're concerned, this has been an open business in a long time, technically we don't allow storage, and it seems like that's what's going on. Is there anything we can do to get this to be an open business, open to the public, with semi-regular hours? I mean, those businesses were probably never open more than Saturdays, even,
When they started,
when they were
yeah.
active. I mean, it was probably maybe 2 days a week, maybe Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday.
Well, we'll have to,
And that might be a good place to start.
It might be.
Know that
a letter sent to
Watch
them
it.
or something saying,
concerned.
yeah. Well, let's skip through this because this is long enough for tonight.
Yeah.
Let's have an update on the library quick.
All right. Well, that's not going to be quick. No, I can make it quick. Because of the change in use of the building, it's going to require change or upgrading to, state of Minnesota code, which requires the HVAC to be upgraded for the entire building. The cost of that is going to be significant. The owner, as such, is kind of weighing his options on what to do now. And I'm supposed to meet with him and the NC Peterson next week, and just to kind of see how we want to go forward and stuff. One of the options that was considered was, is it worth it to tear down the building and build a new library / offices above, or is it worth it to repurpose the building as planned? So those are some of the options that we're going to look into, but like I said, because of the cost to upgrade the HVAC, which very detailed, outlined in the Bolton and Mink study. There's a plug for you there. But no, the study Bolton and Mink did outlined it way ahead of time. So I don't know why it's coming across as, this is kind of new information when it wasn't new information. So anyway, we are going to get together next week, discuss, see what the best way to proceed.
Well, what kind of money is with the HVAC?
I think for the entire building, when we're looking at just the lower level, we got a quote that would be, fairly low, 6 figures for just the ground floor. But if for all 3 floors, it's a completely different setup, and we're talking over $1 million.
That exceeds the value of the building
Yeah.
many times over.
So yeah, not many details yet, just that, there are a couple options we're looking at, and we need to discuss it with the owner.
Well, it cost way more than $1 million to build a new building.
Yeah, but it'll
Tearing
be,
it down and everything.
it'll be purpose-built, so that's kind of the attractive part.
And the only way you can leave it the way it is if you didn't do any improvements.
The only way you can leave it the way it is if it were to be continually used as a senior housing facility or residential facility.
So it doesn't have to be specifically senior?
Nope.
So if you wanted to keep the upstairs apartments and just renovate the downstairs, you could?
No,
Nope, because if you start remodeling,
you have to change code.
Yep.
But
It triggers it for everything. And as of right now, I mean, they're using it as offices, and right now it's saying, well, there already has been a change of use.
Yeah?
Yeah, are they kind of operating illegally, or?
Well, I mean, that's why they need to make a decision on how they want to proceed.
I feel like he had, it strikes me as a bit odd that he didn't know, or that he's saying that he didn't know. I would assume they would have had people who could have checked that out for him since it's a state code.
Well, I didn't read the Bolton and Mink study in a while, Chuck, but I remember that it was outlined in there about the HVAC upgrade.
That was probably the biggest drawback to the building, was the change of use triggered the HVAC issues.
Yeah, because I remember seeing that in the report. It's just I haven't read the report in months. I know it was maybe 6 months ago where it came out and we distributed it to them.
Well,
Oh, that's just wonderful. Well, that's all we know on that right now.
Well, it is what it, I mean, we just gotta keep working and hoping everybody can compromise a little and still have a library at the end of the day.
Friends of the library, the foundation, they're all, wanting to pursue this and make sure it happens, so we'll see.
And I mean, sooner or later, we're gonna do something, but
yeah.
it's not like we don't have a library, so.
Oh, great. All right, annexation of property within the city limits. We've been talking about it for years.
I asked them to be on the agenda. What does it take to do this? Because we've been talking about it. I'm tired about talking about it. I want it done.
Yeah.
All right, Bill, there you go.
So,
Because of
people have talked about it, and I have in the past said, and no one seems to do it. I mean, we really need to renegotiate the annexation agreement with the township
Absolutely.
to say that we can. I mean, because we can't.
I thought we could if it's surrounded by,
The city,
within the city.
the state statute says we can.
Our agreement is for,
No, I don't think it does. The state statute says you can, but then it also says if you have an early annexation agreement, all of your annexation is governed by the early annexation agreement. We have one.
We have
It says we can't annex property,
Without the property owner requesting it.
right? And, so we've talked about annexing property owned by the city and property that's totally within the city limits, but we need to reach an agreement with the township that says that we can do that. And so, or we need to try to withdraw from the agreement, which would be a big fight, but, those are all options. I was looking at some of that land, I can't quite figure out if any of the land up by the ponds is contiguous with the city. It seemed like there was a little piece there that maybe touched, so maybe you could argue that all that is contiguous, I don't know. But that would be the only land that would touch city limits.
Right.
I think it might, but that would be the only piece that does. So those would be the two things that you might be able to do, would be to annex the sewer bond lands and the properties that are within the city limits. And I know at least one of the property owners has been vocally opposed.
well, nobody's gonna want it, but it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
We got 8, 10, the garage on Minnie. It just don't make sense to me, and then the one guy, his backyard is township, and the front of the house is town.
Or 4 houses in town that are township.
Right.
Yeah, so, but the bottom line again is, we need, I don't know that the township is opposed or even cares about those properties, but we gotta talk to them about it, and, we gotta make it part of our annexation agreement.
Well, we need a meeting with the township, and hopefully, they
Well,
kind of ignore
we need
us.
to look at the orderly annexation agreement.
Well, that basically says that the owner,
I know, but to change it, we need a meeting to
well,
get it changed.
that would be nice too, but I guess if the township didn't care about these properties in town, I'd at least like to start there and get that done. take little pieces, chew it twice and hope it goes down.
That's a legitimate discussion, but I think, you know, we need to figure out a way that we can be the logical place. I mean, the agreement, I think the agreement even says that we'll continue to look at this, and it talked about Highway 23 going around town, and need to discuss things after that happened, and, you know, but the agreement just sits there, and it needs to be talked about. So that's the law.
When we did that agreement, Bill, was there a committee that worked on it, or was it the administrator and the township, or, I don't remember. I mean, that was a long time ago.
Well, I mean, the original agreement, I don't know, was in the fund.
I think Peach was
Mayor at the time.
I think it was the mayor, the city administrator, and
Two township people.
two township, yeah, they worked out the agreement. I wasn't on that committee.
And
No,
I think the council, it wasn't, it was like 3-2 or something.
yeah, I don't remember
It was
that.
not approved, you know, overwhelmingly.
No. Well, I think that's where we need to start again. The mayor and the administrator and two township people, and look at the agreement and see about redoing it.
Yeah, you know, and
And the
I mean,
attorney.
if you want to, you know, if the mayor and the administrator want to meet and have a conversation about it before they engage in that meeting, I mean, I've looked at it, I'd be happy to talk to them, but I think, you know, there's just a few things in there that, you know.
We should change.
Depends on how, I mean, I don't know if the city has other goals. I mean, I know we ran, you know, infrastructure under the 4-lane in some places to accommodate expansion. If we went that way, I don't know if the city thinks that there's other areas that should be incorporated into the orderly annexation agreement that aren't currently in it. You know, I think those would be legitimate conversations too, but I think the changes that we're most focused on here, city lands possibly that are contiguous, and properties within the city, those are an easy fix. You know, but we just got to talk about it.
But it should be looked at and updated anyway. It's an old document.
Well, that's probably true.
And maybe more properties added or taken off.
Yeah, I don't know if any of those properties, you know, the property that is in is all to the east. I don't know if, you know, if we think that some of that isn't really a logical area for expansion. If, you know, I think from the city's perspective, we need to look at where would we realistically run infrastructure. You know, I don't, and maybe those areas are all still areas where that would be realistic, but maybe it's more along the corridor of the highway now than those areas to the east that, you know, that were looked at before. That's something that Ron and Chuck, you know, would have some insight into, but I think, I don't know where all that is exactly in the ground, but I think those are probably the areas where that infrastructure is there and was done. You know, that was, I assume, what people were looking at, thinking that was the logical area for expansion.
Things have changed in 20 years.
Well, the highway going through there was a big deal. I mean, I think that changed a lot. But there's limited space for expansion. I mean, the airport kind of blocks that area off, so you have to go around further to get to the next area where you could do expansion on the other side of the highway. But I think all that needs to be thought about before you have that meeting.
Yeah. Well, that's a way to probably start.
Okay.
Sean and Tarek meet with you and kind of go over there. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and the last thing on our agenda is the downtown revitalization that Jen added on it.
We had talked about that briefly, and we talked about doing just like a small thing, and we had talked about like, you know, new garbage cans, things like that, that really, you know, might help out, which of course those are expensive, but, and then possibly just looking into some larger things, like I'm somewhat curious to know what the plans are for the building I mentioned, the one that's attached to Shrubs, so, yeah. I don't really have, Jean wants to go, so we don't have much more to say. I don't think we really have too much more to say about it, just, I think is it better to have the storage or empty buildings is kind of where we're at, so. Kind of look into some options and go forward from there.
Nobody seems to have any brilliant ideas, so.
Well, there's somebody in town who works with the woman I mentioned who's specific, her whole program and her whole job is to come in or to work with people in rural areas as far as their downtowns and their whatever. So I'm going to connect with her and see how she found that experience and if it's worthwhile. And I'll go from there.
Okay. If that is it for tonight, we'll finally adjourn. The nature, energy gives it too much time.
That happened intentionally, I
Why? You seem excited.
the whole tide thing on there, it looks like it hasn't been washed.
Well, it's actually what it is.